Okay, so what's going to be important in this particular course is to understand the African dimension, because when we take a look at the African experience in the United States, the formation and control of labor forces, we can find many parallels to what's occurring today with the undocumented immigrant. And that is why it's so important to appreciate the black beans. So did racism precede slavery? Well, the scattered evidence confirms that it did. British cultural traditions reveal fear, bias, and abhorrence of things black. Historians do know that once slavery is written into law, racial prejudice explodes. So to emphasize that King Kong phenomenon, as early as the 17th century, laws are written in each colony forbidding racial mixture, especially for the protection of white women, since white men can have sex with whomever they want. So, how did Africans arrive in the Western Hemisphere? The captives embark on the infamous Middle Passage. It was so called because it was the middle leg of a three-part voyage, a voyage that began and ended in Europe. The first leg of the voyage carried a cargo and often included iron, cloth, brandy, firearms, and gunpowder. Upon landing on Africa's quote-unquote slave coast, the cargo was exchanged for Africans. And fully loaded with its human cargo, the ship set sail for the Americas, where the slaves were exchanged for sugar, tobacco, or some other product. And the final leg brought the ship back to Europe. Let's watch a film clip that helps us understand the Middle Passage.
The thing that distinguishes slavery in Africa from Atlantic slavery is race. Europeans set in motion a system of slavery that was predicated on the idea that certain people were marked as enslavable. We've learned a great deal about the Middle Passage in the last 40 years or so. The volume of the trade involved the removal of about 12.5 million people from the African continent. The Middle Passage was the middle leg of a voyage that starts in Europe. The first passage is from Europe to Africa. The Middle Passage is the journey from Africa to America. And then the third passage is the journey back from America to Europe.
The Middle Passage could take anywhere from 2 to 3 months. Men and women were separated. Men typically were held in the lower belly of the ship. The roof, if you would, was quite low, probably about 4 feet high. So people couldn't stand. African men were shackled together, and they were packed so closely together in a spoon-like position. And they would stay like that for pretty much the entire journey.
You're talking about hundreds of people. You're at 120 degrees. It smells terrible. There are actually people dying around you, which has to be a traumatic experience for everybody on board.
Maybe 10% of voyages, we know there was some attempt to rise up, to kill the crew, to try to turn the boat around, to change their destinies. Historians have a hard time capturing what the Middle Passage must have felt like for enslaved men and women. It's a voyage that is deeply disorienting. It's a voyage to a place that you can't anticipate. You don't know what's going to happen to you. I don't think we have adequate words to capture that experience.
I know this ain't home, but it's where you gotta be. It's time your family pay kunta.
Okay, as the film clip reveals, mortality rates were high in the Middle Passage. And although it's difficult to determine how many Africans died en route to this place called the New World, it's now believed that between 10 and 20% of those transported lost their lives. So this experience is important for us to remember, because it is being repeated today by the tragedies that are imposed on those crossing the border from Mexico into the United States. The Middle Passage continues across the U.S.-Mexico border today. People are dying en route from Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean as they journey to the United States.